Going?
Good. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. You got a week left before you got to hit the books, eh?
Yeah, a week and a couple days. It's kind of scary.
Really? No, I'm not scared.
No.
People living with you yet?
No. One guy moves in on Tuesday, and another guy is coming to see the place tonight. You buy a mixer?
No, Alexandra has had this for a while because she thought she was going to get into YouTube. Never used it. It's,
Ooh.
so I figured I should test this.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I doubt it'll make a difference for like hangout.
Yeah, maybe not. I can buy for $10 a year. I can buy the HD version of Call Note, which allows you to record and everything in HD. So if we have really good internet connections, it might improve our quality. But
Yeah, I imagine I will in a month or two.
nice. Yeah, same. I'm supposed to get fiber at some point.
Oh wow! And $10 is cool.
Yeah, seems worth it. Though I just bought these headphones for like 70 or $60, $70, something like that,
Yeah.
which is pretty cheap. And we'll see if they're better. I don't know.
They seem to be working well now, don't they?
Yeah, well, I can't. I mean, I hear fine. I'm more concerned about the microphone because I recorded one
Hmm.
video with Chris Anderson recently, and my computer mic didn't pick up hardly anything I was saying. Like he could hear me, but for some reason the software couldn't hear me. So I don't know. So I'm gonna try the USB version.
Yeah, I listened a little bit to the one with John, and the echo was just real bad.
Yeah, yeah, and that's because I think I was doing his audio just out of my laptop, so then it's feeding back into
Right,
my mic pickup. So
right.
I think that's usually the main issue. You gotta isolate the speakers from the microphone.
Yeah. So should be wearing headphones, I guess. But are you getting an echo of yourself?
A little bit, but not much. At the beginning, I was. I haven't since then much. But yeah,
Oh wow. So can you hear me differently now?
yeah.
Better or worse?
Uh, I don't know. Decide at the end of the conversation. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty clear.
Yeah. Well, you probably hear yourself a lot, actually.
Uh, I actually don't. I no, I don't. Not at all. A little tiny echo, but like not enough to where it's annoying.
Hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So is this the new apartment?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big ass mirror.
Yeah, it is.
Nice. That's a good
Kitchen
size.
is through there to the left.
Yeah.
Bedrooms like behind that in that hallway behind me. Yeah, it's nice.
Did you guys paint it all white, or did it come all white?
It was painted like a gray when Alexandra saw it, and then they were going to repaint it. So Alexandra asked if it could be white. Yeah.
Nice. I like it like that. It looks good.
Oh yeah, you're now you homeowner.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to see? Did I already show you the painting or no?
Not what you painted, no.
No. So it used to be like, can you see kind of in that nook there how it's sort of yellowish?
Yeah.
It kind of looked like our house uh, back in Abbotsford. And so now most things are, there's like two tones of gray, which you can kind of see on this pillar. You can kind of see the second tone. Um,
Yeah.
and then there's like accents of like a dark blue. So, but I still have lots more painting to do. Painting takes so long. Ugh,
Yeah.
it's the worst. But it's pretty good. I just put on
Why?
like YouTube lectures and paint.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like want to listen to something like thought provoking, but I also need something to do in the meantime.
Yeah, yeah. I totally get what you mean. Yeah, you need some like menial task to do as you do it. So yeah, painting's been good for that. Any kind of like manual labor is good for that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's why I don't know if that came across clear in our conversation. That's why I was like saying how a simple job could be really fun.
Mm.
'Cause it's a job that doesn't require me to think actually,
Yeah,
because then I could think about whatever I wanted.
yeah. So what'd you do today?
Well, last uh, well, I interviewed with the Seattle Department of Transportation,
Yeah.
which I'm super lucky an interview, but it was for a pretty mini, like rudimentary. You don't even need an engineering degree. Associate's degree was fine position, um, but I didn't really care because yeah, whatever. Anyways, they called me back last night finally and said no, somebody else got it, but we might be able to do like a temporary position, something administrative for a while because there's a lot of jobs that will be opening up, and then maybe we can get you into something later. So I said yes, that would be awesome because I want to yeah, like a department of transportation for me is like a long term path.
Yeah.
Like I can see jobs in that that I would like for a long time. Um, whereas like Packard truck engineering, there's nothing. I can't imagine a job in that field that I would enjoy. So, so yeah. Oh, so this morning, uh, I was going calling some references and stuff that they needed for like background check and things. And then I went looking for that book that you sent me, and found a ping pong table outside, a ping pong table close to here, which is so awesome.
Like a public ping pong table?
Yeah, uh, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. That's awesome.
I think I
Yeah.
saw where you live. I think I looked at you when you were at home,
Oh yeah.
and you are close to like a hotel, like a Best Buy, like Canadian Tire, all that stuff.
Yeah, and like a huge park, like
Oh,
where you
really?
can walk for hours.
Oh, that's so legit.
Yeah, I spent a ton of time like googling places in Kelowna. I'm getting a lot of feedback now for some
Okay.
reason, but um,
You said you spent a lot of time walking around Kelowna.
no, just like googling where things were, like amenities and things like that, and um, kind of I came up with like some location, like general areas where I thought it would be good to live based on their distance to like the cancer center and their distance to the hospital, or rather the university, and um, and based on their distance to like amenities and then parks and stuff like that. And this place was like one of my top choices of where to end up, and then found the place. So yeah, because I googled for a while just reading up on like people who people who decide where they want to live, or like strategies people use to determine where they want to live, and like what to look for and how to, like, just the various metrics you don't really think about before you buy a place, or that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking about, and so came up with that list and then tried to like choose a location based on that list. So but yeah, the location's really great. Like I love it. I can walk to Costco. I can walk to Canadian Tire to like two grocery stores.
That's awesome.
Uh, Yeah.
For so many
Mar-
reasons, that's awesome. Like
yeah.
for drunk, being drunk, that's awesome. For
Yeah.
just lending your car out, or like your car's in the shop or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Even I can go like yeah, like talk about drunk, like there's a bunch of bars, like pubs within walking distance and breakfast joints.
Have you tested any?
No, I actually haven't gone. I don't know. I haven't really found like people to go with really.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've had my mom visited for 2 weeks, and then my dad for a week and a half or something, or my mom for a week and a half, my dad for a week. So it was like I don't know. It was more just catering and kind of appeasing them and stuff. So
Yeah. Wow,
so
that's awesome.
but yeah, yeah. But I gotta find a good. I think I found where I want to go to the Mayweather fight, the McGregor
Oh
Mayweather fight.
yeah,
So
dude.
yeah, there's a place downtown.
I bet everywhere's going to be so packed.
Yeah, this place it opens at 4 for the event, and it's a $10 cover.
So you're gonna poach
And
up.
I don't know. I kind of want to, but there's like also this guy who's gonna come watch it with me. He's another grad student,
Hmm.
and so I don't know if he's gonna want to wait that long because I like the event doesn't start till 6, and then like McGregor Mayweather is supposed to be starting 2 hours after the event starts. So McGregor Mayweather is not going to be till like 8 p.m.
Oh really?
Yeah, our time. So, so it's like I'm going to be there from like 4 till 8 if I do that. So I'd almost rather just like I don't know, walk in at 7:30 and watch the fight and have a beer and then
Yeah.
leave. But I
Yeah.
don't know. But or
You know.
find a stream. I don't know. But
Yeah. You know. The predictions are that Mayweather's going to get $100 million for this fight, and McGregor is going to get at least 75.
yeah. And did you know that like Mayweather is predicted to win, but 95% of Vegas bets are on McGregor?
So Vegas is going to get lots of money. Like if
Well,
Mayweather wins.
yeah, if he wins, or they're gonna lose billions of dollars.
Yeah. Oh, what are the chances are? Do you think that they set something up,
You mean that it's
like lose
rigged?
on purpose? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say probably pretty good, but I mean, both of those guys. The thing is, they both have really big egos, and they both have like pretty decent legacies now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't like which one of them is taking the fall. Like what? I don't know.
Right. Right.
And
But
then
Mayweather 49-0, like never lost. McGregor's lost a couple times, right?
yeah, he's lost 3 times, I think. Yeah, yeah. But McGregor hasn't lost in a long time. I don't think.
Dude, McGregor talks so much shit.
It's so good. Yeah, I love it. I want him to win just so I
Oh,
can watch more of his shit talking, because then he'll be like the king of boxing and the king of MMA. It
but
just like
it makes him look so dumb though.
yeah, but it. I mean, so dumb, but also like that's what sells. That's the hype. Like people eat that shit up. Right?
But it's not like I don't know, Ty Domi. It's like I'm making fun of you when I'm watching you talk shit.
Yeah, yeah. No, he looks like an idiot, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like that's what those egotistical, like roided up dudes love. Like that's, or even just fighters. Fighters love the ego,
Yeah.
so it sells.
Yeah.
I think he. I don't. I bet he isn't as egotistical as he like comes off as in those interviews. I think he just knows that that's what sells, so he's kind of
Dude,
built that into his brand and his character.
I feel like you give people the benefit of the doubt. Like you think Trump is actually smart and McGregor's actually smart. No, I think they're just tools that we laugh at.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just think like that's what. Okay, if you were gonna be, the world's best MMA fighter, and you wanted to sell, you know,
Hmm.
20% extra tickets for every event, you'd have to ramp up the crowd, and the way to do that is be the biggest asshole you possibly can, so that more people want you to lose, or more
Yeah.
people are so pumped up that you're such a jackass.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, also like, I don't know, he has been hit in the head a lot in his life, so.
Yeah. Dude, you see this little red light?
Mute, yeah.
I think that means it's off. Oh, can you hear me louder now or not?
turn
No
like
problem.
cover your mouth as you do it. No, like
Can you
cover your mouth
can
and
you
the
hear me
mic.
now? Can you what?
Cover your mouth and the mic to block or like block your computer's mic.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I think it's the
Better or
same.
worse?
I think it's the same.
Can you hear me now? Better or worse?
Oh, better.
Okay, so I don't have this thing working yet.
You might be able to change it in Google Hangouts because I know you can like you can do some settings
Oh,
there.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, microphone. Mine just says communications.
Oh, there
Oh,
we go.
yeah. Wait, is my audio better now? Can you hear my audio? Oh, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. You just went right in my
Ooh.
ear holes.
Ooh.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit less feedback on yours.
Well, I didn't have this microphone set as the default on Google either because when I went into settings, so yeah, yeah.
Now,
Wow,
now we're cooking.
way better. Okay, nice. I'm recording, so now we're gonna be able to see the difference. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's funny. It was set like that on my computer, but Hangout still went to the other one.
Come on, Google.
So tell me why. I think this male female issue is has such a simple solution, and tell me why it doesn't work. Like why uh, society has come to associate female with painted toenails and the color pink, but all it means is XY chromosome or XX chromosome. So so maybe the solution is to like make a different name for sex distinction, XX chromosome, XY chromosome, and then turn male female into lifestyle descriptions, because we're obviously not going to be able to shift the male female dichotomy back to only chromosome descriptions.
Right. Right. And so like a scientist would just stop using the word male female and just start using the word, oh, this one's an XY, this one's an XX.
Right.
And the XXs tend to do this and the XYs tend to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I yeah, I mean that would work, I guess, probably. I mean, what you couldn't say, I mean, you can never. The thing is, like, it always, like, all of these issues, they just come down to treating people like individuals for me. Like, don't. Why? It doesn't even matter to me if you're a transgendered person at all. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm hiring you and you're going to do a good job, then you're going to do a good job. If you're not, then you're not. So for me, like, none of it matters. And so it's really not about, like, the words for me, or like I don't think the words. I don't mind changing the words I use so that I can communicate more effectively. For me, the issue is being forced to change my words.
Mm-hmm. And the kind of irony is that the LGBTQ plus argument is like emphasizing that these gender roles do matter almost.
Right, because oh, you mean from a like in opposition to individualism.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your group identity as a transgender person or as a bisexual or something matters more than the fact that you're just an individual. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty wacky. So, what is Zizek's book about there? Did you buy it or no?
No. I wanted to figure out if I should read the book you recommended or not.
Oh.
I don't know really. I mean, end of capitalism, end of history, and end of capitalism. I've seen a few books around actually today when I was just looking through the bookstore that talk about the end of capitalism, and that's a really, I mean, uh, creative thought for me, at least. So Zizek's book will be a lot more theoretical and creative and abstract and like no tangible. I mean, he'll use like uh, some instances of somebody did this, which could be in the spirit of this ideology. Um, but the book you're talking about, from what I'm reading or what I've seen, is like a personal account of his experience of like a cultural identity being destroyed.
Yeah, it's essentially his thesis is that um, the European and the North American cultures, um, with their disregard for Christianity or Christian values or deism in general, they've taken on these ideals of other other philosophies. So whether it's atheism or it's some brand of secularism, um, we don't know what to do with our collective morality. We don't know what to base our collective morality on anymore. We can't point to scripture and say we should do something. There's no basis. So you have a bunch of nihilists over here and a bunch of Christians that are still Christians over here, and you have so we don't have any common cultural morality upon which we're basing our cultural decisions, our national decisions. And so it just causes a ton of strife and a ton of animosity and a ton of communication problems in general. So that's what I understand to be his thesis. I think it's true. I think, and that's kind of what Nietzsche talks about, is just that it's his prediction is just that there's this huge void when you discard Christianity, and that's going to happen on a larger level.
Yeah, and like different flavors of that come from so many different authors.
Yeah,
like modernity could even be related to that.
Yeah, right. It is an element of modernity because with anything new that happens, the old is cast off, and so there's going to be discrepancies in footings for ideas and in as modernity progresses. So you're going to have these voids, and then the culture is going to have to shift, creating a new modernity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was more thinking that the modernity originally is based off the loss of meaning. So yeah, modernity, I guess, starts the process of no meaning and having to build your own meaning, and that's when things like efficiency and rationalization kind of become viewed as ends in themselves rather than like ways to fulfill a greater meaning.
Yeah, well, I think that's yeah, I guess so. I wouldn't say that efficiency or rationality is the ultimate, or is even like a valuable end.
No.
But yeah,
and that's the critique.
Yeah,
but that it is often treated as an end, even though it doesn't really give anybody any.
Yeah, dude, let me read you something. So I just finished this Dostoyevsky book.
Whoa.
Called Crime and Punishment, and you're gonna. It's kind of a longer paragraph. Okay, so have you read this book, Crime and Punishment?
No, I mean, no, not the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's essentially about this intellectual who he comes up with this philosophy, and the philosophy is that, well, if it's okay to go kill people across the ocean, or if it's, or in Germany who are committing all these atrocities, then it should also be okay to kill people in our local environment who are committing atrocities to the local environment. Right? If it's okay to kill Nazis, then it's okay to kill, in his case, the evil woman who keeps lending out money to poor suckers who don't know the difference between a good loan and a bad loan as bad loans, and then essentially bankrupting them when she calls on the loan. And so he kills this lady, and then he has this. The whole book essentially is about his internal struggle and his relationship with the police because they don't know that he committed it because he's smart enough to kind of slip by, and then eventually
Hold on, hold on. Are you able to pause and continue, or will you lose your train of thought?
yeah, I can pause.
Okay, so that's so funny because that exact story is basically what Google recently did with short-term money lenders and advertising. They
Oh,
just said this is basically immoral because you're taking advantage of the poor, and we're just going to not let you advertise anymore.
yeah. Except that he killed them, but killed her. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny. And it's funny that it's. I'm bringing it up right now, and that it's something you
yeah.
obviously recently learned about. So,
Mhm.
he decided, he's decided to kill her, and then the police are after, whoever the killer is, and he knows them, and so there's all these other things in the mix. Um, but then, so his kind of conclusion at the end of the book, he's in prison and he's having this dream, and so it's like the last pages of the book, and um, he's like really happy even though he's in prison because he feels like he did the right thing by coming in, and then he's cast off all of his guilt and everything, and his life is moving in a positive direction even though he's in like the worst possible place he's ever been. And he says, when when convalescing, he remembered the dreams he had while running a high temperature and in delirium. So, and the book uses dreams to represent sort of his uh, deepest philosophical thoughts, I guess, a lot of times. He dreamt that the whole world was ravaged by an unknown and terrible plague that had spread across Europe from the depths of Asia. All except a few chosen ones were doomed to perish. New kinds of germs, microscopic creatures which lodged in the bodies of men, made their appearance. But these creatures were spirits endowed with reason and will. People who became infected with them at once became mad and violent, but never had people considered themselves as wise and as strong in their pursuit of truth as these plague-ridden men. Never had they thought their decisions, their scientific conclusions, and their moral convictions so unshakable or so incontestably right. Whole villages, whole towns, and peoples became infected and went mad. They were in a state of constant alarm. They did not understand each other. Each of them believed that the truth only resided in him, and was miserable looking at the others, and smote his breast, wept, and wrung his hands. They did not know whom to put on trial or how to pass judgment. They could not agree what was good or what was evil. They did not know whom to accuse or whom to acquit. Men killed each other in a kind of senseless fury. They raised whole armies against each other, but these armies, when already on the march, began suddenly to fight amongst themselves. Their ranks broke, and the soldiers fell upon one another, bayoneted and stabbed each other, bit and devoured each other. In the cities that... Anyway, so it goes on. So anyway, the idea is that science and reason, which is, it's an old idea, but science and reason, it's you can find it in the New Testament, but the idea is that science and reason um, lack this sense of spirit or this sense of commonality that leads the intellectual to just say, well, I'm right and I have the truth, and so there's nothing else out there. So I don't know. It lacks, I guess, a humility and things like that. I almost forget where that was coming from, but or why I brought it up. But
Well, being logically, being correct in deduction, in logical deduction, what kind of greater meaning does that give you? Like, deduction tells you nothing that's not already existence existing in the premises, right?
Right.
So there's no meaning
Or
in that.
it can naturally follow from the premises. No, what's I think valuable to us in it is coherency. You're searching for coherency is what you want. I think when you're trying in a moral discussion or in a if you're
Right.
talking about ethics or anything like that, you want like your model of the universe and then like your daily life to be coherent with like how you think about your family and then your city and then the world at large, right? And you want all of those to like fit within a model of action and a model of how you model what good is.
Mhm.
And so you use the tools of logic as an actor for or as a tool to I guess determine whether or not that's all coherent and whether that's all moving towards a type of existence that you seem to be enjoying and that other people are enjoying and that the world at large is benefiting from and I guess
Well,
supposedly enjoying.
well, only if your original premise in your deduction is that we should search for happiness, because otherwise deduction isn't pointed towards uh, good. It's like you said, it's just searching for coherence. And the way I understand that is, okay, you take a premise or you take two premises, and then deduction is just figuring out what is actually in those premises.
What necessarily follows from them or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Right. So, uh, but the real source, those premises, like those are the question. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
figuring out the cohere, it doesn't really matter if those premises are not founded anyways.
Yeah, and the only answer to that is what are the ultimate premises? The ultimate premises is the best ones that you can think of. The you may not find one that is the best, but the ones closest to the thing that you're trying to get or that you think you should get at, and then the ones like so as it works for you, and then also as it works for the rest of the world. I guess. I don't know. Like
You're looking for
you're just looking for a theory of good, right? And so the theory of good is just whatever you want to like suggest as the theory of good, but there isn't going to be like it necessarily isn't deducted because it is the base, it's the base assumption, right?
right, right. We've had this conversation before. Like, uh, I'm not sure why. Obviously, in Crime and Punishment is about good and evil in many ways. But were you looking for good? What the fuck is good? It doesn't like my first premise is basically that there is no good and bad. There is no right and wrong. Nothing matters.
Right. Nothing matters except that like it seems like things do matter. Like well okay, nothing matters, but like what why would you believe that nothing matters? Like what evidence is there to suggest that nothing matters?
There's it's the absence of evidence to suggest that there's anything that does matter.
Okay, well that's not evidence that nothing matters. That's evidence that we don't
Well,
know if anything matters, right?
yeah, yeah, I guess, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know if anything matters, but I also believe that there's no um, supernatural anything.
You believe like
So
that as a strong belief?
yeah,
Oh, okay. I guess that's yeah, because I don't. Like I just I don't know. Because there's no evidence to suggest that there isn't like that I wasn't created 20 seconds ago. There's no evidence to suggest that.
right. But we're
Right.
looking for base premises, right? And the base premises can't be I don't know anything.
Well, no. Well, yeah, well they can be, but they have to they're all founded within that framework. So the framework is I don't know anything. Now I have to create now, like in order for me to not kill myself, because if I just decide that nothing matters, if I just take that as a claim, or well, not even that nothing matters, that my life is actually pointless. If my life is actually pointless, since my life has struggle, I might as well just kill myself. That's like the conclusion I've come to. It's just that like if since nothing actually matters, right? Since all I can tell is that nothing matters, well, then why not just kill myself? Because I'm gonna have pain and struggles down the road. Everybody wants something from me, it seems. It's just like
So
way easier to just keep sleeping, right? Okay, so well, I can do that, but I don't really want to do that. Partially because I'm scared of it, and partially because like there also are things that I enjoy of this experience, independent of the fact that um, that I have trials and tribulations as they seem. So for me, it's I don't know anything, and I don't understand what is going on in the world. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know that there isn't a God. I don't know that if there's meaning, and I don't claim to say there is meaning in the world. But this is what I do claim. For me, I'm enjoying life more than I'm hating it right now. And it seems like I can do things that make that life, more towards the enjoyment, more towards the wanting to keep living. And I can also do things that lead me more towards the wanting to kill myself. So for me, the better option, for me, I just like, I since I'm already enjoying it, I'd like to enjoy it more because enjoying is like the definition of liking it, of wanting to do it more. So for me, good is doing things that make it more likely that I will be enjoying life more in the future. And it seems to me also that there's evidence that my enjoyment is subject to the context of like my family and the culture and the world at large.
mhm. Okay, so good has nothing to do with ethics for you. Just has to do with happiness or enjoyment.
Uh, well, I mean, right. So ethics is just ethics. Ethics are like the things that you do that make the world to be better for everyone. Yes. But
Uh,
and well, no ethics. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what's like a definition of ethics? Maybe that'll
well,
help.
it depends which ethic, right? So, lots of ethics would include a sense of duty, um, which is basically regardless of its impact on the world. Uh, it's your duty not to lie, even if it were to make the world a 10 times better place. You just can't lie. That's part of the ethic. Um,
Right.
so that seems incoherent with your definition.
Well, okay. So there's a definition here. Ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. Um, and then, of course, there's the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. And then they define morality as uh, principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. And then another one is a particular system of values and principles of conduct, especially one held by a specific person or society, or to the extent which an action is right or wrong. So it all has to do with, the principles related to if something is good or bad, or right or wrong or whatever. And so, yeah, of course, I don't know of any objectively true principles because I don't know anything, and so all I can do is call it as I see it. And so my ethics are, the things that seem to me to make the world more, good up, to make the world, uh, such that I want to live in it more, and then yeah, that's what morals are. Morals are the actions which I can take that make or the actions or I can take or the relationship to actions that makes them, or what's the best way to say it? Yeah, morals morals are the actions that one can take, or
These
morals
be
are the
guidelines.
morals are the guidelines for actions, and good morals are those that make the world such that I want to live in it more.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Not like make the world a better place. Make
Well,
it
but
good for
that's
you.
what I determined to make the world a better. That's what I mean when I say the world a better place, though. Yeah.
Okay, okay. But
When I
usually when the word better or worse are talked about in an ethical or moral realm, it's it's not about the state of the world in which you makes you happy to live in. It's it's like a evil and shining light.
Yeah, I think that's just like a product of our evolved consciousness in the sense of uh like like a sheep herder doesn't know to speak in that nuance. Like
No, but the herder will probably has an ethic that will guide their behavior not towards their maximum happiness, but in accordance with this guideline that came from where?
well, it came from
Yeah, yeah,
people who figured out
yeah,
that hey,
social
if we
evolution and whatever.
yeah,
But it's
right.
not. But it's not necessarily guidelines that make the sheep herder happy.
No, it makes it well not certainly not happy in every instance, right? Like that's the
I guess
that's why we allow ourselves to suffer and invest so that we can make the world a still better place
for you,
as we see it. Yeah. Um,
I don't mean like in your perspective, but like a place in which you will experience more happiness throughout the span of your life.
yeah, I don't even necessarily think so. Like I think there are some ethics that like essentially only cause suffering, at least a type of suffering to the person experiencing them, but they'll do that because they 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 see that that's going to make a type of world that they want to live in more. That's why I don't use the word
Okay, so
happiness because it's not. I don't work out because I like the pain. Like I take the pain because tomorrow, like a different person than me, because I'm going to be a different person tomorrow, is going to be is going to feel better, right? Is going to enjoy the benefits of my workout today. And so the reason I work out isn't because it's making me happy right now. It's because I'm making the world more into the type of place I want to live in
mhm.
instead of less into the type of place I want to live in. And
And
that's
the measuring stick for that is amount of happiness. You're working out now,
what's
so that
one of
tomorrow
them.
you'll be happier.
Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, it's well happiness and the measuring stick for a better world is enjoyment of the world I'm living in. I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
which I don't think is necessarily just happiness. I don't think that's just an emotion. I think you can be happy but not always enjoying, or you can
Yeah,
be you can enjoy things and not be happy, right? Like how I enjoy the workout, but I'm not necessarily happy while I'm doing it.
sure, sure. Like deeper senses of meaning and gratification
Well,
and all those things.
not in like a woo woo sense though. It's just that like a, just saying that it's not necessarily the emotion of bliss that we're after, per se.
Okay, well, yeah, I define happiness as the psychological state in which I would rather be.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So then,
okay, so
so does that make sense that like within those that the concessions that you don't know anything, now you can just say good and bad in terms of relating to a future you'd more like to be in than one that you'd less like to be
hmm hmm so uh, that is that's not like ethics at all to me. That's that's just happiness. That's just guidelines for your own happiness.
Well, that's what the definition of ethics is. The
No, that
definition is morals. You know, morals, a set of morals relating to good and bad.
yeah, good and bad as in evil and just, not happiness and not happy.
Well, but that's what we mean when we say good and evil.
No, I mean, who 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 associates those two things? Like,
Evil is bad.
right, right. Evil is bad. Right. Evil is not unhappy.
Oh, but I don't. Yeah, but bad is unhappy.
Bad is also like badass. Like a like the anarchist could be super happy and bad.
Okay, so like there's yeah, well yeah, you can be bad and have feelings of joyful emotion. The problem with the anarchist is that once he's destroyed everything, he's left with nothing to do.
Sure, but I can be morally bad and very happy about it.
Totally, absolutely.
Right.
But it seems to me that you can't do that forever. Like it always ends in death. It always ends in despair. And it definitely ends in despair for like a lot of people in your immediate area, which I don't think like which for me at least would have an actual negative consequence on which
Mm-hmm.
has it seems to have a negative consequence on me. That's why I say like it's like it's the kind of world you want to live in because you have to say okay, well, like it's not just the feeling of emotion, it's that I have because there's lots of ways to maximize your emotive feeling. Like the optimal way to do that is to conquer the entire world and then to turn the entire world into or the entire all of existence into a machine arbitrating your regulation of dopamine and serotonin. That's the ultimate
Mm-hmm.
way to be maximally happy. But but that's not the world I want to live in because I enjoy because why? Because
Yeah.
other
Okay.
people
So,
have
but if
meaning too. Because it seems to me that it matters more. Other people's emotions, I guess, matter more than above a certain level of happiness of my own emotion.
man, this is so crazy. Why are these definitions so hard? It seems so simple to me. So you've just defined another psychological state in which you would rather be, which to me it says this state is more happy than this dopamine one that you described. So that
Yeah, it's
dopamine
because we
machine
have like a
you've
shitty
just described
definition
as
of
not
happy.
happy.
Yeah, I just think we have a shitty
It's
definition of
it's
happy
horrible. It's
because we're
horrible.
using the same word to describe two like totally different things. I guess. Yeah, it is horrible. Like why can't we say uh um yeah
You know,
yeah
Mu- one of the reasons Musk is working on, or what's the brain communication technology?
the neural
Neural,
lace.
yeah, 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 and that's just to overcome the barriers of language, of like auditory sound wave language.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we function at sound wave speed and not light speed.
but like also communication bandwidth is so low, right?
Yeah, like he thinks about human biology as just like as a total computer science like
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so hilarious.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so in the to me the happiness machine question, this this machine in which you can go, in which it will, I don't know, like the Matrix or something similar, in which by definition you will be happy. Would you go in this machine, even though it's a fake world? So most people, even in my master's class, will say no, I will not go in that machine, and there'll be like three people who will say, yeah, I go in the machine, and I'm definitely one of those people. Just put me in the machine. Like by definition, I'm happy, and that's the only thing I'm seeking.
Um. Yeah. Why is that a problem?
So in this class, we were asked to write what we go in the machine in like in a paragraph and hand it in. Um, and I like ranted against the person who wouldn't, saying that they're mixing their moral guidelines with their with where they're not really valid, and somehow the machine, if it's not reality, it invokes some sense of that it's morally inferior. Um, uh, and that's the only like we have a little bit of a discomfort gut reaction to it, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. Is this a reason why? Is it partially because my okay, my happiness matters to me, but also I value your happiness, and um, my value system
But
is
I
such
got
that
to
it
stop you
doesn't.
there
My value
because
system
my
doesn't
happiness
maximize
is
my own.
already taken into account in yours.
Well, but okay, but maybe, uh, maybe your happiness matters like maybe my happiness isn't the ultimate metric, right? Like
But
maybe I'm
we
not
can't do
searching
that.
for happiness. Like maybe the
It's
ultimate
just
goal
like
isn't actually happiness because we know happiness is just a level of serotonin and dopamine.
no. A level of serotonin and dopamine is exactly just a level of serotonin and dopamine. Happiness is the psychological state in which you would rather be, which doesn't have to be
Oh,
dopamine.
okay, I see. You're defining happiness as okay.
Yeah.
That's not like a common definition of happiness, is
Well,
it?
let's look it up.
Yeah.
If there's not a word for that, then
Yeah, it's happiness is a mental. This is Wikipedia. Uh, in psychology, happiness is a mental or emotional state of well-being, which can be defined by, among others, positive or pleasant emotions, ranging from contentment to intense joy. Happy mental states may reflect judgments by a person about their over their overall well-being. So happiness is emotions, which is
happiness is
which.
contentment, well-being, psychological state
Oh
that's
no no
positive.
no. It says is a mental or emotional state of well-being which can be defined by
Right.
positive or pleasant emotions. Even if you call it well-being, that well-being is still defined by positive or pleasant emotions.
Um, in the discussions I've had, people separate happiness and well-being and say they're two different things, and they'll say happiness is like that emotion, the dopamine emotion, and well-being is like a greater overall sense of contentment.
Yeah,
And
it's an indicator for well-being, but it's not the definition of well-being
yeah,
because happiness is like current state, whereas well-being is the sum of all the states, I guess.
sure. So maybe well-being is a more appropriate definition for what I mean, maybe you consider well-being to be a better definition for what I'm talking about. What I talk about, that psychological state in which you would rather be.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So yeah. So the point here was just about
What am I talking
getting
about?
getting back to this state of well-being, this state of you call it the state we want the world to be in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is. Um, yeah. Okay. I can see why there's confusion because so if you're talking about going in this thing that, in other words, this is a machine that makes you think the world is as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the machine does, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can already do that. It's called religion.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you can already do that. It's
It's just not totally convincing for everyone.
right. Well, yeah, but you can just join like some cult, and the cult will tell you, "Hey, everything is perfect. Everything is fine." And this
Yeah.
is exactly what it is because it tells you, this is exactly as the world should be. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is strip naked and let the priest touch you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're fine. So, you know, the problem, why people don't want to go into it, I guess, is because they know it's a lie.
Yeah. I was just
Right.
gonna say, I'm willing to bet the only reason those people who buy into it are not happy as they should be is because they're not totally convinced.
Oh, we're talking about religion,
Yeah.
not yeah, yeah. No, but yeah, well, that's certainly part of it. Or
Or
other
maybe.
there's psychological mental disorders that,
Mhm.
or mental states that there's a lot of issues, but um, that people can have. But why people don't want to go into this matrix that you're talking about, this happiness matrix, is because they know the matrix is a lie, right? They they want to live. They want you want to live. You want to believe that the world. You want to work towards the world as it should be,
Mhm.
but you also want. This is like the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Exactly.
confidence part of confidence adjusted
Exactly.
intrinsic attitudinal hedonism, because you
Mhm.
want the confidence that you're actually acting towards a real reality
Mhm.
that's supposed to actually
Mhm.
exist. And so you want, it's not just you call it happiness, but it's really like, I don't think it's just I don't think it's just the Webster's dictionary version of happiness that one should act, like, that's a good definition of what we might call happiness or something. But it's more than just the the goal of human existence is more than just that. It's we want the world to be as it should be, and we want a world that is as it should be isn't one that is a lie.
Right. Right.
And
And to
so
me,
and so being in that matrix doesn't allow,
right.
in essence, isn't a world is as it should be. You're just living in a lie, and so that's why
Right.
people don't want to be in it.
But the psychological state, whether you know it's a lie or whether it's a lie or not,
Yeah,
is the same.
yeah, yeah.
So,
It
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what the confidence adjusts for. The confidence adjusts for the ignorance, I guess. So one of my professors actually thinks your happiness um, is changed based on things you can't possibly know about.
Well, yeah. No, well, yeah. It definitely is, because you don't know when serotonin and dopamine are doing things in your brain.
Okay.
You don't know when certain receptors
Okay.
are acting,
Let me
and
say
then
this
there's
different.
anything that can affect those. So of course,
Okay.
from a
Okay.
biological perspective, anyway. But maybe he means from
Okay.
a more.
From something that can't. So the example is um, your brother, who you haven't talked to in 10 years because he lives in Africa, just died. You don't know about it. Did your happiness go down? And so this professor thinks yes.
Oh, I don't think there's any evidence to support that. I don't know what evidence would
Right.
support that.
Right. It's
You
it's
might
a
have a theory, but okay.
it's a really
Yeah.
weird definition of happiness.
Yeah. Oh, or it's just a really weird definition of happiness. Yeah. 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 Um. Yeah. So would you still get in the machine?
If what?
The machine, would you still get in the Matrix machine as you described it? I guess I'm saying I wouldn't get in the Matrix machine. In the
The only hurdle is getting in it.
Well, right. So the only hurdle to perfect communism is murdering all the kulaks. Right. As soon as we murder, this is the idea. This is
This is the
Marx's idea.
Holocaust.
No, well, it's what Stalin tried to do. It's the general idea is we already have a perfect model of socioeconomics. Okay, it's called communism, and so the only hurdle is we have a bunch of kulaks who aren't conforming to the model. They're cheating us all. Is they're not working hard enough, and they're abusing all the tools we gave them, and they're cheating us on their farm production values. So as soon as and the kulaks are defined as the people who are cheating us. Okay, so as soon as we kill and destroy all the kulaks, as soon as then we'll, then we're good. Then all of a sudden everything will be perfect.
Hmm.
Like it's just, I don't know if that's like a really good analogy to use, I guess. I don't know. But it's just, I guess the idea is just that, like, you can't abandon the rest of the world and then still claim to have solved all of your life's problems.
The only problem is in my life is that I'm not in the psychological state in which I would rather be. If you give me a machine that would do that for me, I, like, by my own definitions, have to get in it.
But you'd have to pass through a state. Yeah.
Right. A very hard state.
Yeah. Well, and
one where
no, I still don't think so, because the psychological state that you'd rather be in, I think it's actually a paradox. I think the whole question is a paradox, because if you define the machine as a machine which is able to give you the psychological state that you'd rather be in, then to enter, and if also then to enter into the machine is to abandon the rest of the world, then that machine is incapable of putting you in the psychological state which you'd rather be in, because the definition of the psychological state that you'd rather be in is one that incorporates the rest of the world.
Okay, but
is influenced by the rest of the world. And so that machine is not actually capable of providing that, because it's dissociated from the rest of the world. Or independent of it. And because you're not able to interact with the rest of the world.
Okay, but can a psychological state not exist independent of the rest of the world? Why can't you believe something that isn't true? Why can't you believe you're being influenced by the rest of the world?
You can.
Right, so,
but like the definition of the state you'd rather be in is one that is also, like, included in the values, or what am I trying to say? The psychological state that you would rather be in is one that includes you not being fooled.
Right, but is there a difference between in just the psychological state of that, between not being fooled and believing you're not being fooled?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think I get what you're saying. So, in other words, is it possible to have the same psychological state
regardless of
reality?
Right.
Yes. Likely.
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah. Okay, so right, so but okay, right. So then the problem is that I don't just want the psychological state,
which I can't get over.
Which is a psychological state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of a breakdown of. So to summarize, what I was trying to say, I guess, was that since what you had said was that as long as it can replicate whatever's going on in your head when you're going to be maximally, at peace with the world, or when the world is as good as it can be, as long as it can replicate that, then you should go into that machine. Well, then I had said, well, but there's still something missing. You still have to interact with the rest. You still actually have to, do something for the rest of the world. I guess that's also kind of what the Buddha said. That's like the whole Buddha thing, right? Because the Buddha says like he went to nirvana, and then they said, okay, well, do you want to stay here? And he said, no, I want to go back, because I don't want to be in nirvana unless everyone's in nirvana. So he comes back, and his whole goal is to help everyone reach nirvana at the same time.
But like, if you believe that everyone is in nirvana, what's the difference? the way I think about it.
Right.
I believe
if you're
everyone's
hoodwinked,
there. Whether they're there or not doesn't matter to my psychological well-being.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, there's I think the last time we talked a little bit about free market, which, oh my gosh, I would love to know more about economics.
Yeah.
It's like in one of my first classes, one of the professors said you can't do philosophy without also doing politics and economics. And man, I'd love to do it, but it's just such an overwhelming topic. Like, but anyways, I wanted to bring it up in case you wanted to mention anything about it that you thought of since the last time we talked. And I also saw this book in the store today, and I just sent to you.
The Death of Public Knowledge. How free markets destroy the general intellect.
Yeah.
Death of public knowledge. Wow, that's a advertisement for communism, if anything, right?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like it.
Seems like it. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I hadn't thought too much about. I had thought a little bit about our discussion on like drug regulation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing really with any profundity, I guess. More just kind of reflecting on the conversation and questions I would ask to people who I know to be extremely libertarian, as to the limits, to ask as to the limits of their libertarianness, because we came to one point in the conversation where we were saying, I had said something like, shouldn't the market be totally free unless it's proven to not work? The default should be a free market, not a regulated market, and then as regulation is needed, it is regulated, it's added. So I thought that I'd like to ask someone who's really libertarian, because certainly libertarian people have thought about those way more than I have, and I just wondered what the common response is to that, or what the or what 100% free market person would say to that. Because it's especially relevant in like, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that some of them are going to have a moral claim against government intervention just because free person is a moral issue, not just a happiness issue. I would imagine for some, and so we got to that point, and I think I agreed. But I think my caveat was that I'm generally more willing to trust a government implementation off the get-go than just let something be free until the whole system's shit and then involve government. Just because I don't know, it seems like a proven model to some respect. And like government, well, here, I really love going into a grocery store and not having to think about anything, knowing that everything on the shelf has gone through like some base level of FDA approval. I'm probably not going to get sick by anything. I don't have to like check which agency approved this particular product and then look up reviews of that agency and determine whether it's something I trust. Like, I just like that system better. And it seems like it would be cheaper too than if you're having competition with profits. Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. So I think that's just, I just think that's what would happen anyway. Like, in other words, like a system, an organization so big that it would, that in order to compete, any provider would essentially have to send some samples to them, would incorporate, and would thus become the standard. And so you'd essentially have the exact same system you have today as a consumer, except with the ability to actually rate that organization's success and that food and to have your input be heard in a more egalitarian way. Whereas right now, you can give your input, and it doesn't actually have an effect on the rating of the organization. All it does is someone may or may not read your comment and then take your comment into consideration when they make the next regulations.
Yeah, so this big company, you're saying, we'll have to stay on top of it because there's these other companies that if this company gets too shitty, these other companies will threaten
Exactly. Yeah.
I buy that. It's we're just still talking theory.
Yeah.
I don't know what works.
No. Yeah. I have no experience here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just talking out of my ass. Totally. Yeah.
Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to add. Shoot, lost it. Those are nice headphones. What's the brand?
Yeah. They are the Razer Kraken USB.
No way.
Yeah.
Razer. Wow, that's cool.
I don't know. Is it a good brand? I literally went into Best Buy and found the geekiest looking person. Talked with him for like 15 minutes about about what I would need, and he said, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine with these. Like tons of people use them for like exactly what you're using them
You
for."
never heard of Razer?
Nope. And and then found them cheaper on Amazon.ca. Got a price match at Best Buy and walked out with them.
You got a price match with Amazon, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Pretty much, you can price match anything at any store nowadays. It's because Amazon's 2-day shipping, so it's like it pretty much is a direct competitor. Yeah, dude. I price match at the grocery store now. Yeah, I'm straight up a homegirl, dude. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing actually. But yeah, literally.
A video of an economist predicting that Amazon will be the first $1 trillion company.
Oh, I believe it. For sure. Yeah, I use this app. It's called Flip.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go soon because I have to.
Okay.
So you can search. So like, let's say you need groceries, right? So you go and make a grocery list, and then say you're looking for eggs. Right, so then it comes up with, is it too bright?
Mm-hmm. Can't see it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it comes up with all the grocery stores in the area that have eggs on sale, or at all the prices. So then you can be like, oh, Shoppers Drug Mart has grade A eggs for $2.29. Okay, so then I take a screenshot. So I go to the thing and I can highlight it, so then it goes in my shopping list. So now my shopping list is, go to full shopping list. Here we go. So my shopping list is just full of like stuff I need to buy. So like here's my Shoppers Drug Mart has the eggs. So then before I go into the grocery store, I take like a screenshot because the grocery store doesn't have cell reception because it's a big Faraday cage.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I take a screenshot of all the sale items that are cheaper than at the grocery store I'm going to. And when I'm at checkout, I'd be like, oh, yep, these are grade A eggs. Shoppers has them for $2.29. Boom, price match. These are these has, and I save like $30-$40 every time.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, because you spend $100 in groceries, and someone has it for 50% off or like 6 or 40% off somewhere.
Wow.
And the whole process, it only adds like 30 minutes of extra time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting like a free untaxed $30
mm-hmm.
back in that amount of time. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good system.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I do it with Costco too, because Costco has really good sales. So, and they have Costco in this thing, so you get like Costco deals for things, basically for food and stuff.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I gotta go. I gotta clean up. Someone's coming to look, so I gotta make sure it looks presentable. I just have to make sure it looks like I'm painting. That's all it has.
It's crazy. We had no topic. We just talked about random shit for what seemed like an hour. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know how long it's been, but I guess call Nova tell me. Anyway, good to chat. See you next weekend.
Yeah, man. All right. Talk to you later.
Talk to you. Oh, we should definitely talk tomorrow after the fight.
Yeah, or like during.
Even if it's just texting. Yeah, or during. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay. See you, bro.
Yeah. All right.